Alright guys, such comic again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. Sib and Dashy back at it again over the last couple of days. Sib continuing his tirade as he intends at some point, it seems, in the future to get himself onto OpTic Gaming. But Dashy and Sib play a very brief 1 versus 1 on Colossus over the last couple of days. And well, Sib gets slammed so bad at the first couple of gunfights, he calls it a day immediately. Very much into your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. Not sure Grok knows ball here, unfortunately, in the Call of Duty League. Wanted to start here, scrap lineman ratings. We've seen these recently for Dashy and for HyDra and for Simp and for other players. These are Scrappy's cards, and look, if there is a king of the lineman card, it is Scrap. I mean, I think HyDra's numbers, Dashy's numbers, Simp's numbers were all averaging around an 89, 90 rated card. Simp was a bit more inconsistent in his ratings, but Scrap's ratings are pretty undeniable, right? Obviously, he's only been in the league for 3 seasons, so we don't have the entire CDL history, but his first ever card was a 96. I mean, it's pretty outrageous. The lowest he has been in the 90s is a 93. He did have a bad champs this year. They only played a few series. He went for an 82, but he was back to a 96 at EWC. Now, again, the lineman cards, they heavily reward kills per minute, as it were, right? So they reward pace in the way that they've been designed over the last few years. I think Mack is messing around a little, not messing around, he's improving the algorithm this season to make the lineman cards a bit more representative. There's also what we're trying to do this season with the lineman cards is allow that across the different cards they compensate for different maps played, because some maps, they're just faster maps than others. So if I'm a team and I like to play the slow maps, I like to veto out Blackheart or whatever every single hard point, then my stats on the lineman cards are going to end up lower because I'm playing maps with fewer engagements, and because the cards aren't determined by KD, they're determined by engagements for 10 minutes, objective work and all that type of stuff, then the lineman card looks worse. So we're trying to compensate for that to a certain extent this season. The reality is that Scrap's lineman cards are always going to be pretty spectacular. The fact that his entire regular season in 2024 was all 99s is actually insane. He had 99 cards all season. Well, the funny thing is, he was 99 all season in 2024, but because he wasn't at Champs in the World Cup, he dropped down to a 98 season card. But the 2 seasons where he wasn't 99 every single stage, he was a 99 overall. So anyway, 2025, he was not far off either, and we'll see how he gets on this season. But of course, it's not started especially well for Thieves this year. There are serious questions about that roster. Decimate's here looking for TJ to get a chow. Look, I'm a little bit confused as of recording this video. Surge still haven't said anything about who their new player's going to be. We've seen all the drama with Lqgend over the last couple of days. Pretty sure TJ's coming in instead. Not so clear that's going to be the case as it stands. There were also a couple of clips coming out of all this FaZe drama over the last couple of days, like a couple of final clips really on this topic. But Jeff did a video talking about his perspective on the situation. And he pretty much said, because some people are saying, well, Jev, you're the last man, right? Like, here we go. You've got to lead the ship and turn it around or whatever. And he's like, look, it doesn't really make any sense. First of all, FaZe Clan, FaZe Media, FaZe Operations, whatever, that's cooked anyway. And look, does he want to be a leader? I'd rather be part of a group and lose than be a leader and win. I don't want to create something that other people will potentially depend on, he says. And look, I understand it also. Like, at the end of the day, Jev just wants to play games, right? So it is what it is. The other clip, which is pretty funny, was this one. So now, again, we know all the drama about FaZe is because the content creators were going to get forced to pay a percentage of their earnings to FaZe. But as a consequence, FaZe were paying for these guys to have the house and all this stuff. So it now turns out that Lacey's going to have to pay $18,000 a month in rent after getting the last couple of years for free because they were paying for it, right? So that's the debate. But then again, depending on how much these guys are earning, that might be less than the 20% they had to pay FaZe and all this stuff. So that's the FaZe drama. But let me go through a couple of clips because the Huntsman scrims are back underway. Here's here's some of the boys from that's the Dallas event, isn't it, that we saw last year. Dallas event, of course, back underway in a couple of weeks at a different venue. This was the venue up in Allen. This time it's at the SMU, I think, is where the venue is this time around. But Formal was watching some of these scrims, thought it was interesting. A couple of clips on this Also a couple of clips to share from Shotzzy's perspective too, but he's talking about Overload really, and how it goes to script. Because I think the community perception of Overload has been positive so far for sure. I definitely find it more entertaining than Control. I think the amount of scoring is actually about right. It's pretty perfect, I think, in terms of the current balance between attack and defense. It's not like overly defensive, but the scoring often isn't just totally out of control. You know, and often you get pretty close games that are reasonably competitive down to the wire. You know, a 3-1 game can very quickly turn around. It's not like you get these insane leads. You've got good side and bad side, but it's not quite to the extent that we have seen before. You know, like an uplink, often you'd have, let's say, an evac uplink or a breach uplink or something like that. You'd often have like very much good side and bad side, and you could easily go down like 8 to 10 points on a side and feel like, okay, we can still bring this back. That's okay, but then the other team could get very defensive, just go grab the ball and throw it off the map and all this stuff. So, you know, obviously Uplink was fantastic, but it had its problems in that sense. Overload to me definitely has its advantages in this sense, but Formal says, well, to scrim it might get a little bit tiresome in the same way that Control does. So, yeah, I don't know what the players think about this, but at the end of the day, you got to put in the work, haven't you? Because the game mode is not disappearing anytime soon. So a couple of clips here to share in addition to what Sib and Dashy were up to when they were playing later in the night.
It's not even like they're doing too bad, you know. I don't even know what their scrim score is. But just something I've noticed with their scrims in general, just it's easy to fall, like, you know, especially when you're playing 3 scrims in a day, like. You get to the overloads, like I could only imagine scrimming overloads kind of like boring, you know, like not boring, but like scrimming Control, you know, like, you can go hard on hard points and stuff, but like, you know. Affiliated, thanks for the prime, brother. Welcome.
Small got me, bro.
You got your coach by Major Maniac yet? Yeah, Major Maniac's been coaching them for a few weeks now.
Lobby right here, dude. Throw a fucking god nade to the right, all right, to the lobby, all right. We're gonna nade from our lobby to their lobby. Get a fucking frag.
Nah, I have a sensors. I can't change it, dude.
You're a fucking idiot, bro. I was gonna say let's go mid, bro.
Oh, fuck. You named me.
There's no one shot. There's not T. One shot.
Oh man, back right. You do. Dad! Get the fuck off me! Come on, Drew!
My God.
Oh my God, you go right, Eric. Oh, listen. I think they're right at me.
I'm rotating towards you.
What's up, Art? What? One shot! One shot back loaded. Find this guy! What?
Right, multiple there, Drew.
Dig, you saw him? I lose that. Nice.
Make a play.
Shit!
I know it was break, but I just cheesed them.
Nice,
Dante, come on, Dante.
I'll give you so much dope if we team, Brendo.
Oh
man, I'll give you so much dope. Like I don't have the snipe. Like I imagine, bro, imagine we team and I can have the snipe.
No, I don't complain about
We got spell, bro.
I don't complain about
Like, look at that! Look at that! That's not real!
Located. All personnel withdraw. Trauma teams are inbound.
So Sib absolutely slammed in these couple of gunfights here. Look, this is what it looks like to play Dashy from the other POV. Flies out. I mean, pretty disgusting shots it must have been from Dashy's perspective here, because when he comes around the corner, Dashy's obviously going to be pre-aiming the top platform, right? And, I mean, you can see where Dashy's looking here. He's looking to the platform. So for Dashy to snap on and win that gunfight so quickly, I mean, what does Sib only hits about 1 bullet or something like that, doesn't he? Like, he only, maybe 1 or 2 bullets he hits. So, yeah, pretty disgusting from Dashy. And then, of course, going on to make the play with a knife a little bit later. So it was like a Shotzzy kind of play here, and then he just immediately calls it a day. So, yeah, that's what it looks like anyway, to play Dashy in a 1 versus 1. Both of these guys are shooters. It's an exciting year for sure. Dashy's looking real good on OpTic so far. Sib's looked real good on Gentlemates. I think we are going to see a lot of battles between these two teams this season. Sib said the other day, get me to Paris now and get me playing OpTic on that main stage, because, you know, we're going to have some great crowds. I think certainly at that that event, especially if we get an OpTic versus Gentlemates match at that event. And hopefully it happens all season as well. But Sib's also been talking a lot. We've seen some clips, I think it was a year or so ago, Sib said a clip, this is obviously before he joined Gentlemates, and said that, yeah, like OpTic of course would be his dream organisation to go to play for, and I don't imagine that has necessarily changed. Of course he's joined Gentlemates now, but as I said the other day, if there was ever a world where Sib was required to go to OpTic or something like that, then I don't think he would be saying no. Again, the current state of affairs at OpTic, very difficult to imagine that that would ever make sense to happen, right? Mercules is certainly not going anywhere. The only way that Dashy goes anywhere at this point, obviously he was dropped from OpTic a couple of times, and in hindsight, even probably from his own perspective, maybe understandably, I don't know if he would agree with the decision, of course, but you know, he was in and out, and there were questions whether he was ever going to come back to OpTic again, and then Scump retired, he does come back, and then after years of not winning enough, he then wins back-to-back championships. So Dashy's certainly not going anywhere. And it feels like he's advanced so much as a player now that there would never be a reason to get rid of him. So unless something remarkable happens, like Mercules switches to a sub or something full-time, which he could probably do, like if it was required or something like that, maybe it's not even impossible. But Sib is talking about teaming with Dashy, right? He's talked before that he would like to go to OpTic, and now we've got Sib saying, oh, if we were teammates, Brandon, we'd be such a good duo. So, you know, I think he knows what he's doing here to a certain extent. They were having a pretty good time playing with one another. But again, can I see a world where Sib and Dashy ends up as the duo? There, of course, was talk about it a couple of years back when Scump retired and they were getting in Pred at the end of the year. People thought, okay, could they just get Pred and Sib, put them with Dashy and Shotzzy? In the end, of course, they got Kenny instead, and that proved to be the right decision at the time. But maybe there's a world where this still happens. But yeah, the OpTic Sib narrative is certainly not going away. I just thought this was pretty funny. Speaking of Sib, this got posted and someone commented like, this is TacticalRab level of news. So I thought, okay, whatever. Let me just throw it in the video. And, well, do you guys know of any other pro players that have ear piercings? Because apparently these are the only four. We got Cell, we got Scrap, Sib, of course, and then HyDra's picked up a new one as well. So he's got a little stud in the ear as well. To be fair, and maybe there are more, I don't know, but there seems to be a correlation here because these guys shoot pretty damn straight. So maybe if you're an aspiring pro player, you know what to do. The other Dashy talking point is this, because now two-time world champion, these are the players he has teamed with at the most events in his career. So it's now Shotzzy. They've played at 24 events together. Scump is at 19, Kenny's at 14, TJ at 13, Predilly, Slasher, Crim, Karma, Formal Envoy further down the list, of course. He's still playing with Huke, right? So 10 for Huke so far, 24 for Shotzzy. And I'll just close out with one clip here from what was an absolutely epic, and I've not had the chance to listen to it fully as of yet, but JoeDeceives put up on his channel because HECZ was streaming with Ben and they were talking about all sorts of stuff. I mean, it's difficult to give any kind of too long didn't watch because, first of all, I've not watched it yet, but also it's like 5 hours long. So it's just great to hear this kind of, obviously HECZ can't say everything that he wants to say because of NDAs, because of the state of the league and all this, but him being as honest and transparent as he can be about the way that he sees the industry. I think BenJ always does a great job when it comes to the business side of esports. You know, that's why I defend BenJ, because I think Ben has a lot to add to the scene still, even though some people don't see it, and maybe it's not always him yapping with HECZ on the flank, right? Like, I think there's more valuable things that BenJ can add. But him sitting down with HECZ for about 4.5 hours, 5 hours, talking about all these things, yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of good insight in there. And if you guys want to watch it, I think it's on BenJ's channel. I think he posted it earlier today. So yeah, very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.
As hard as I can, and I'm going to stand up for Challengers team as fucking hard as I can. Yeah. Tell you right, Bush. People should be fucking ashamed. People should be fucking ashamed that they're getting fucking walked on by a fucking, not only a Challengers team, but people who have never operated in Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying?
Ever, bro. Ever, literally ever. They've just been fans.
It should be, but this is where I'm going though, Ben. If we say, all right, 2 teams are now gone, and now there's 2 opens, if 2 fucking endless money machines from Saudi get to come in and we don't let in Telluride or or Rafi or whoever the fuck else has, you know, sort of been carrying the shit, I'm gonna be against it, and I'm gonna fucking speak my loud ass mouth.
What's the
towards it.
process? Do you guys as the owners, are you able